Hi there, welcome back to the Ginescast. I'm your host, Gina.annunziato. Thank you so much for joining me. Today's episode is going to be a bit short and sweet. I let the weekend get the best of me, but it's okay because I have a lot of things in my back pocket that I'm working on, and we are doing just fine. I'm looking for people who voted for Hillary. I would like to speak with you so we can have a conversation about the state of the left and right, as want to do. So please, if you have that in you to speak to me, you can email me at gina.annunziato@gmail.com and we can go from there. I don't know when this cast will be out, but might as well get some things that are in the back pocket and bring them to light. So without further ado, let's go to the Ginescast number 20, When Patterns Are Broken. I fear change, but I like to think and act like I don't. I like portraying myself as someone who's so open to all sorts of different things, but sometimes in the end, I'm just as scared as the next person. Doing a thing that stands to cause your entire life to change around, well, that's a scary thing. But I'm working on this mindset because let me tell you, it gets quite tiresome to continually take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And yes, you heard that right. We get caught up in routines a lot because it's easy and comfortable to do so. We have set schedules for ourselves that make a lot of what we need to do accessible and manageable. And why shouldn't we want that? With all the chaos that's seemingly swirling around us during any given news cycle, isn't it helpful to have one thing that's constant in our lives? For some people, it's their schedule, their job, their family. Others, unfortunately, reach for the bottle. Some just turn to straight-up fried dough to get them through the night. But, and maybe this is just me saying it, I'm kind of starting to see people turn their priorities towards the positives. Maybe I'm just so entrenched in internet culture that I see far more people who don't want to become lolcows than I've ever seen before, and then I'm not seeing the new ones popping up as frequently. I'm not entirely sure what this is that's going on, but we are all changing, and we're changing for the better. Even if we, sometimes have to learn about a man and his dog from that Medicare video that we watched on live stream the other night. God damn. It is so easy to get stuck in a rut. You try these things that you think work or have worked in the past, but nothing at the moment just seems to stick. I was thinking about this during yet another one of my weekends, just in cozy pajamas, just becoming one with the couch. I keep falling back into these old patterns and these same mindsets because on some level, I feel like they need to happen. But, and here's a crazy thought, what if they don't need to happen? What if we don't need to keep relying on past events and how we felt in the past in order to vault us forward? What if we just tried something, anything that's just out of our comfort zone? Because honestly, what's the absolute worst thing that could happen? You don't have a nice time? Oh no, you'll have another day following this one. It's not that bad. This is why I don't necessarily understand extreme mindsets. I think people who are too far left or too far right, they'll immediately go to the absolute unflinchingly worst case scenario when faced with something that's just out of the norm. And yeah, when I do have those kinds of thoughts, because we all do, when they creep into my head, I acknowledge it as, yeah, it totally could happen. But I don't live there. Why don't I do this? Because it just gets exhausting willingly surrounding yourself with negativity all the time. Always, in a sense, praying for the worst so you can solidify yourself as a victim of circumstance. That's old. That gets old after a while. Why not live away a little bit from such harsh and spiky conditions that you can kind of control with your mind, can you not? I notice this happening, these kinds of patterns, these extreme mindsets, and they emerge from the internet lolcows that I follow. They all have this same kind of grading personality traits that's happening. The common thread between all of them seems to be, it's a mishmash of things. It's like arrogance, hubris, a lack of shame, extreme self-confidence that's compounded by extreme insecurity. And it's the stunning ability to only focus on the negative. And the really dumb part of me thinks that, wishing they would find themselves, that's enough to make them change their ways. That's a dumb pattern for myself that I haven't quite figured out how to break yet, because I do keep getting stuck in these cycles of paying attention to people that have nothing to do with me and I have nothing to do with, but I keep watching them just because it's a distraction. And it's probably the definition of wasted energy when I could be doing myriad other things. I don't know. Sometimes I really think that I expect too much from people, and I don't like thinking that because I end up disappointing myself, and it's really not a fun spot to be in. But I promise you, I am trying to figure all of that out. I'm trying not to let myself sink into this pattern of disillusionment and angst just because a thing didn't go my way on my time frame. It's a really good feeling knowing that you're putting things behind you on a personal level. Because, with all due respect, I do think it's a noble thing to want to help those less fortunate, to help your fellow man. I get it. But to constantly live someone else's plight and not take care of yourself and not hold that mirror up to yourself sometimes, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Is that my selfish mindset creeping in? I think it is. But you know what? I don't even care at this point. I would rather help people when I'm actually in a position to help and not spread myself so thin that I end up turning into a crazy, closed-minded bitch in the process. We are living in unprecedented times. Patterns are being broken all the time. Look at everything that is happening with these Kavanaugh accusations. We're just blindly believing people instead of understanding due process, and we're having lawyers trying to dictate how the Senate works. It's absolutely mind-boggling how this process is going, and I can't stand it because the conversation just keeps getting spread thinner and thinner. And do you remember when QAnon made mainstream news? That level of internet digging was brought to light. How smart are you with that shit? Honestly, I can't make heads or tails of things that are actually going on. I'm exhausted from it because it's my job to exhaust you, the viewer, with news. But you know what? You don't need to worry about me. The crazy's gonna come out from time to time as I try new things and get out of my comfort zone as well. And the more I do this, the more patterns I will see being broken between the internet and the mainstream. It's just glow sticks are being cracked and shaken all the time, it feels like. It really is the only thing I have left at this point. When you've exhausted all your other options, you gotta venture out and try anew. And that's what really bothers me about closed-mindedness. What are you so afraid of finding? Nothing? Bad things? Annoyance? Pettiness? Ugliness? Why focus on that when it's possible you could find everything you've been searching for, but just didn't realize you were searching for it? There's endless possibilities in life. You can literally do anything you set your mind to. No one is stopping you except yourself. And while I am sure there's exceptions to this rule because absolutes aren't really a thing with humans, maybe it'll benefit you to figure out what's that one thing that keeps holding you back. What's the one thing that you keep blaming, consciously keep blaming? What is it? Because for some people, and my observation tells me this, it's men. It's the patriarchy. Others, it's the GOP and those gun-toting Republicans. Some people just fucking hate the government. Some people hate white people. Some people hate black people. Some people hate Muslim people. Some say it's all institutional racism's fault. Orange man bad too. Is it fair to say that sometimes we're relying too much on a non-existent boogeyman to place all of our hang-ups on? What if we, just didn't? Just once. What if we didn't blame the bad stuff on an outside source? I get that deviating from what's comfortable may be really scary to some people, but you know what? I've exhausted all my options. I see no other way to move forward at this point, and I've tried fucking everything. We gotta try something new. Learn to embrace what's going on instead of immediately shunning it. We gotta see and hear what's actually going on and not just listen to everyone else who's promising to tell you exactly what's going on and what exactly is going to happen. Because you know what? I may be all philosophical and douchey when it comes to these fucking casts that I'm doing, and it may sound like sometimes that I think I have all the answers, but I don't. Because you know what? I have absolutely no idea what the future holds. And if I don't know, then you don't know. Nobody fucking knows. But there's something that I do know. And that thing is sometimes a break in the chain is what it'll really take to set us free. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Ginescast. I like getting philosophical. I like hearing the sound of my own voice while I wax this craziness that I talk about. When I say crazy, I mean the best kind of crazy. The crazy that can be tamed and doesn't hurt anybody. Because we all got our own little brand of that. And if we can hone it and help other people with it in some way, I don't think that that's a bad thing. But I would like to speak to Hillary voters and people who identify as a Democrat. I think that that would be fun as we head into midterm season. That would be a good thing to talk about. I still have other ideas, and I'm always willing to hear you out. If you have ideas, please feel free to email me at gina.annunziato@gmail.com. Don't forget, the Ginescast comes out every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please leave a comment below, or please share it with someone that you think would like it. If you want more from me, you can follow me on Twitter, Gab, Twitch, and Instagram at hellogines, and please feel free to email me. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Ginescast. I'm your host, Gina.annunziato, and I'll see you next time. Take care.